My name is Kathy Bonser, and I'm the Education Chair from SCORE. And we are happy to bring you today's Client Connect about marketing using your smartphone for capturing videos to promote your business. And we're really pleased to have Adam Grimm here today to deliver today's webinar. I think you're going to find it exciting and actionable and something that you can apply directly to start promoting your business. So with that, Adam, I'm going to turn it over to you and take it away.
Great. Thanks. As Kathy said, I'm Adam Grimm. I'm really excited to be here. Super thankful for SCORE. It's been immensely valuable to me, and I'm sure the rest of you. So I first got my introduction to video marketing as a marketer and not as a videographer. So you'll see some people have more of a focus on the video side, some on the marketing side. So what I've sort of learned to do, and by having, fortunately, having friends in the videography space and things like that, learn some of the principles from them that we can apply to use simple devices we have to have effective marketing. So it became especially important for me. I launched a business a little over 6 years ago, and a web design business, and built that up and then sold that. And a lot of our growth came through video marketing, and a lot of it was user-generated content, smartphone content, that type of thing. Now I have a chance to work as a growth strategy director at a different marketing agency, and also help people on the side through something I created called Bootstrap Local, where I do directly help people develop some of their own marketing strategies, bootstrappers who don't have a big budget and things like that. So doing video marketing with a smartphone, with simple devices and things like that has become immensely helpful. So I'm going to run through the slides, and like Kathy said, leave a lot of time for questions. I think a lot of the interesting conversation comes out in questions, but hopefully over the next little bit here, we can lay a framework for how you can leverage just some devices you already have in your hand potentially to build a video marketing program and start generating clients that way. So a couple things on video marketing specifically. Before we dive into the meat of that, and you're obviously here at this webinar, so you are probably interested in video marketing, but just in case there's any question of what video marketing can do for your business, I want to cover a couple interesting studies that came out. First of all, social media videos posted on social media drive 1,200% more shares. That's 12 times more shares than text or images. So it's fantastic on social. When videos go out on social, they get a lot more engagement, a lot more comments, a lot more shares, which can then lead to more exposure for your business and more growth. Emails with a video get a 96% better click-through rate than just text and images. So if you're doing email marketing, you can get a significantly better click-through rate. Again, more engagement, more open rates through using video. When we talk about search engine results pages, we see that there's a 150% increase in organic traffic from search engines when a video is used on a page. So more than double in organic search performance when we use a video on a page. So that's the search channel that we have here. And marketers who use their videos in ad campaigns get 34% higher conversions. So almost across the entire marketing landscape, we see increase in performance, increase in conversions, increase in sales when you leverage video as a tool. So yeah, social media, search engine results, etc. But one of the challenges is for a lot of businesses is that video seems expensive and it seems a little bit out of reach. One thing that's really interesting, Instagram just released this study that mobile shot story ads have a 63% chance of outperforming studio shot videos. And that's kind of the nugget of truth, the kernel of truth that I try to get my clients to leverage when they go and they engage in these video programs, that they actually don't need a higher expensive marketing firm necessarily. There's certainly a place for high-end videography and things like that, but at least for the very first stages of your video marketing program, you can do it with a smartphone. And in a lot of cases, you actually get better performance than a super expensive, overly produced corporate video. So if we take those nuggets of truth, I want to walk you through some of the steps that I use when laying out a video program and producing video. So the first element we have here is just strategizing. So before we dive in and just start shooting videos, we want to make a plan for what you actually want to get out of the video. So for that, we lean back on our trusty marketing funnel here. So any of you that have done anything with marketing or have any background have probably heard about the marketing funnel, but it's essentially an illustration of the buyer journey. And essentially, just in case anybody hasn't heard of it, when the first steps people have when engaging with your company is the awareness phase. You've got to hear about who you are. Then the consideration phase, you've got to actually think about your business, learn a little more about your business, and then decision phase where they actually purchase from your business. And you're going to want to use different types of videos to actually engage people on different levels of this funnel. So at the awareness phase, you might want to do brand videos. So just introducing your company, what you stand for. If it's a shop, you can do walkthroughs of your shop. If you've got a lawn care company, you can do shots of the lawns you work with, things like that, how you approach lawn care, things like that. Then thought leadership is another great example. So educating people, teaching people about your field, how-to videos, tutorial videos, things like that, or live videos where you actually do live walkthroughs or something like that can work really well to build awareness for your brand. Then you're going to walk people down to the next level. So we're going to get to the consideration phase. The consideration phase, now they've actually heard about their brand. They're really familiar with you. But now we need some video content that's going to push them to the next level. So videos of customer stories, videos of the way you approached a problem, the way you solved a problem, explainer videos. If you have, a solution, if you have an invention or a tool or something like that, or a digital tool, software tool, you can actually have videos that kind of explain how to use the tool. That can work really well. And then when you get to the decision phase, when someone's just about to buy, product tutorials, FAQs about your service, go back to lawn care, do you do organic service? Do you do all natural service? Things like that can work really well. Or how-tos that specifically relate to your product or service can work really well. So one of the first things that when you're sitting down and thinking about a video program is start to map out some videos that live at each phase of this funnel. And then we're gonna think about some different formats for video. So what your video can do, it can answer common questions. So if there are questions that come up a lot in your industry about your product or service or your location, you can answer those questions in video. That can work really well for search engine optimization, for a lot of different things there. You can teach a concept with your video. So you can do instructions, tutorials. A lot of graphic designers, web designers have grown, really extensive businesses by doing tutorials about some of the more technical products or some of the more graphical elements of things that they do. You can inspire people or encourage people. If you are a life coach, a business coach, or something like that, maybe your videos just seek to motivate people and get people rethink their, their core paradigms and things like that. Or entertainment and delight. You can just do fun videos. Obviously, we've seen a lot of videos that just are a little quirky, a little out of the box, really fun, and engage people that way. So think about which stage of the funnel, what goal you have for your video, where it fits in the funnel, and think about what format you have for your video. And then after that, I just use a basic spreadsheet here. So we kind of, this is an example I grabbed off the internet here, but the one I use is pretty similar to this. We have the different types of videos. So you might even have the different levels of your funnel here on your first column here. And then you can have the dates across the top or the types of specific video content, and then just start mapping out the types of video you want to create across the next 12 months. So that's the next step that I take when I'm working with somebody on a video marketing program, is to just have sort of a brainstorming session, identify those goals, identify the strategy, and then literally just start having an idea area where you add, potentially dozens of videos out there. And then once you have your video list there, this step seems pretty minor, but I really think it's a critical critical step, excuse me. When I'm working with clients, this is where I've seen things break down the most. Usually when you get to the idea phase, that strategy phase, people have a bunch of ideas for videos. They have a lot of, different ways they can take the video, ways they can make the video. Sometimes they even go spend a lot of money on different pieces of equipment and stuff to make their videos better. And then the videos never get done. And what I've seen a lot of time, both at the agency and working directly with clients, is I'd say, unfortunately, like 8 times out of 10, people might make 1 or 2 videos, or maybe they make no videos, but after, a month or two, the video program just stops. And they see some early returns, but then they just get distracted with the ideas of running a business and things like that. So I think one of the things I've seen be one of the #1 success factors in businesses who have stuck with it and really grown their business over video is writing down what videos they're going to shoot, when they're going to shoot them, and where they're going to shoot them. So again, it's a really basic thing, but if you don't get those videos on your calendar, if you don't literally carve out a time when you're going to shoot the video and when you're going to edit the video, it probably won't be done. So while the strategy phase is absolutely essential, actually planning out your implementation, actually putting time and blocking out time on your calendar to shoot a video or two, and then to edit those videos is absolutely essential, and is one of the #1 success factors I see for clients that get a video program done or don't get a video program done. So once you've had that strategy phase, once you've got your plan in place, you've got your time scheduled, now it's time to get to the capture phase. So it's time to actually get in and start recording these videos. So the first thing, when you're ready to, you got your phone, you're ready to record your videos, and it can be an Android or an iPhone, any of the newer phones capture really high quality video. The first thing you want to do is secure your camera. So you can hold your camera up. Some of the new cameras have steady cams, actually have stabilization inside the phone itself, so that it won't look shaky if you hold it. But for most of us when recording our videos, I do recommend having either a tripod. You get a cheap tripod at Target or something like that. Or if you go on Amazon, there's a Gorilla Pod. A lot of people, when they first start, I recommend they get the Gorilla Pod. It's just what's pictured here. The nice thing about this is you can put a little tripod right on your desk, or these things wrap around. So if you're out somewhere, you can wrap it around the part of your car, wrap it around somewhere in the field. You can really get your camera to mount onto anything. But one of the things you'll see with lower quality video is the camera's really moving. It's hard to focus, it gets shaky, things like that. So a really basic first step is when you're out there, you're ready to capture, the first thing is to make sure you have some kind of tripod or some way of mounting the camera. and just secure the camera. Excuse me. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna light the shot. So again, when we look at videos that are high quality versus videos that are low quality, lighting is a big consideration here. So what we often see is lighting that looks like one of the first set of items here. So either we've got that one in the middle there, where you get that really like harsh light, that really kind of tungsten light. Sometimes people pop on Amazon and get like a $30 light and just get a really bright light, and then they look really washed out. Sometimes people use their home lights or fluorescent lights, which you'll see kind of the top two photos there. It looks something like that, not great coloring, etc. Or sometimes people go outside and you get some of the bottom row videos there where it's really bright, you've got sunlight right in your face, etc. What we're really going for is number 9 here, just a really simple, clean light across. So when you're shooting video, what I really recommend when you're starting out, and you can spend hundreds or thousands of dollars in light, but I recommend using natural light to start. So just finding a place with lots of windows, lots of just organic natural light coming from the sun. If you can shoot a little earlier in the day, not right at noon, but a little earlier in the day or a little towards the end of the day, you'll get some nice blues or oranges in your lighting. The hour after sunrise and the hour before sunset are called the blue hour and the golden hour. You get some really nice light during those times of day. But you don't need to worry about that too much. Honestly, if you find a place that's got nice natural light coming through and streaming through a window, and you sit just a little bit back from that window, you'll get really nice light, kind of like the video shown here, or like we have here. This is actually professionally produced, I believe it was on Netflix, but a professionally produced documentary, but they use natural light all throughout there. They didn't do a lot of artificial light at all, but they had that really nice clean light that looks really professional. So you don't need to invest heavily in light, but just be cognizant of your light, make an intentional choice about how you're gonna light your video. And honestly, rather than spending even a small amount of money, rather cheap lights on Amazon or something like that, I would really try to use some natural light. Find a room where you can get some windows and things like that to get that kind of more clean, organic looking feel. Once you have the lighting set up for your video, the next thing we're thinking about is audio for your video. So next to lighting, audio is probably the next place where people will start to judge your video or see it as less professional or something like that. So it helps when you're thinking of the audio of your video or how your video is going to sound, it helps to understand a little bit of how sound actually works. So when we speak, when something comes out of you say the thing that you're recording, a small portion of that sound is going to hit the microphone, either on the camera, or if you have an external microphone, it's going to hit there. But most of the sound is going to go out in your room. And then it's going to bounce off from the corners of the room. So it's hit the corners, it's going to bounce out. And then you get this echoey feel or kind of a reverb feel. And when you hear these videos, if you watch a couple of videos on YouTube and you see some that are, use good sound practices and things like that versus amateur videos, when you have that really echoey kind of, breakdown of sound, it sounds low end. It kind of is hard to listen to over time. So that's a little bit how the sound works. So in order to fight against that, in order to fight against that reverb or that poor quality sound, I recommend, Zoom kind of took over there. I recommend getting some padding around your video. So if you think about how sound's breaking around that room, if you use a room with a lot of soft surfaces, like a living room where you might have curtains or a sofa or something like that, there's going to be significantly less reverb. The sound's going to sound actually a little higher quality. It's going to sound richer, and it's going to sound like a higher, better produced video. There are a lot of professional kind of influencers and higher end YouTubers for a long time just shot YouTube videos in their living room and sounded just fine, as opposed to maybe a kitchen or a small office or something like that. So get in a room with a lot of soft surfaces. If you can't, this is actually an NPR trick. When the NPR hosts go on the road, and when we're listening to NPR in the morning or something like that, a lot of them record their sessions in their hotel rooms. They're on the road, so they can't really get to a studio or anything like that. And what they do, and they've kind of shared this in their blogs and things like that, is they set up just a pillow fort. They build a basic pillow fort, and you could put your camera kind of between two pillows there if you had to, just to build some nice padding behind where your voice is going. So again, if we think about that slide that shows how sound travels and things like that, what we want is, instead of it bouncing everywhere, we want it to kind of go into a surface and just kind of settle there. And then that goes without saying a little bit, is try to get as close to the microphone as you can. So if you're getting to your phone, try to have it somewhat close so the audio is very clear. Two ways we see video fails: either it's too quiet, or again, it's really reverbery or sounds kind of low quality. This is the only really big investment that I recommend in this whole course. And most people who have worked with this video have ended up purchasing these. There are lots of options for microphones and things like that online. These are my two favorite, the Rode Go and the Rode Go 2. They're a wireless microphone system. They're expensive. I think the Rode Go 1, which is just a single unit, is $200, and the Rode Go 2 might be $300, or it's $100 and $200, something like that. They're not super cheap, so you don't want to go out and buy these today. But once you get in the process of shooting a lot of video, if this really works for you, the first thing I recommend upgrading is going to be to get a better mic system. The nice thing about the wireless mic system is that it just offers a world of flexibility. You don't have to be as close to your camera. If you're out in the field somewhere, you can just clip this on your shirt or plug a lavalier mic into it, something like that. I've got a painting company that uses this. I've got a junk removal company that purchased these, an accountant that purchased these, and they all have told me universally they really love it, and they use it for every one of their videos. So I'm not here to push this product specifically, but it's what I personally use for my videos, and a lot of my clients have used it. Another nice thing about this is the simplicity. Getting your mic to work with your audio can be really tricky. Every phone has different inputs. Bluetooth can be kind of spotty and go in and out. The system these use gives you really high quality audio, and basically you turn it on, you plug it into your phone, and you're good to go. So that's one suggestion. Again, I don't try to push expensive products. I try to keep it all free, but this is one upgrade that if you're going to spend any money on your video production program, I'd get some kind of a higher quality microphone. And then, like I said, because of the flexibility and ease of use, this is just one that I tend to use. All right, so once we've got our sound right, we've got our lighting right, we've got our camera secure, the next thing we'll talk about is framing the subject. So something to think about is the rule of thirds. And what that essentially means is you should think about your video and think about the whole frame of the video and break it into chunks. So if you draw 2 vertical lines and 2 horizontal lines, you'll see there's kind of 3 columns, 3 imaginary columns across your video. And what is really nice is if you balance your video, so when you're shooting yourself, or if you're shooting a customer, excuse me, to get a customer testimonial, or if you're interviewing somebody, one of the easiest, and you can get a little creative with shots down the road, but when you're first starting out, one of the easiest videos to make look good, and even look just a little better than what your competition is going to look like, is to balance it so they're actually on the third, in that kind of left-hand third or right-hand third of the shot. If you start really paying attention to even Hollywood movies and things like that, longer dialogue shots and things like that will often put a character in one of the thirds of the shot. It's a pretty traditional videography technique. Some of the reason why you want to do that, first of all, and we're going to talk a little bit how to add graphics to your video. If you start adding graphics to your video, so if you're doing a presentation, you're a financial advisor, and you're talking about 3 ways the market's changing, it'd be really easy on your phone to add like 3 bullet points along the side. So in addition to just the kind of pleasant balance that a rule of thirds creates, it gives you some room to work with on the one side. Also, by keeping your eyes at the line or slightly above the line vertically, that kind of that top third line vertically, it gives you some room to have what we call lower thirds, or put it, so you've seen this all the time in video, where you have, the title of the person that's being interviewed, or your name and your title. So it gives you a little room to do things like that with your video. Some things you don't want to do, centering someone perfectly in the shot. And this is usually the go-to. When we see amateur video shot, very often, it's actually how I am right now in the Zoom meeting, but putting them right in the middle of the shot is what people go to. There's some problems with that. It's a kind of aggressive thing. The balancing actually ends up looking a little off, a little less professional. It's also a little aggressive. You're kind of right in the middle of the shot, and it's just a little bit less creative. And then also gives you less room for lower thirds, left-hand side, and things like that. So you don't want to be in the center for a couple reasons. The other thing you don't want to do is push someone all the way to the edge of the frame. So we kind of want to keep that on that third line. If you push them all the way to the left-hand or right-hand side, you get an off-balance shot. It looks like they're kind of falling out of the frame of the video. And then you also don't want to put someone too low. You're going to look like you're really short, or your subject's really kind of tiny. It also just fills the frame with unnecessary white space and things like that. So you don't want to have someone that's too low in the section. So not too low, not too high, not right in the center, just a little bit to the third on that kind of rule of thirds line, and balance it out that way. If you start with your first, dozen or so videos that way, again, then you can read up on video composition and video framing, get a little more creative, different things. But this is a great place to start, and you're going to definitely have a higher quality, more professional feel if you shoot this way. The last thing I'll say about capturing when you're ready to do your capture sessions and things like that is to film in short clips. So another mistake we see is people try to do everything in one take. So they try to, rattle off a whole 5-minute video, and it just feels kind of rushed. They start losing their positions. There are a lot of ums and ahs, maybe, like I tend to do in these videos. Just a lot of reasons why, getting that whole shot into one video is not really realistic. And also doesn't have the same feel. And also, people start to lose interest. If you have a 5-minute video, let's just say, and it's all one shot, one angle, you'll see that people actually start to kind of nod off and lose interest. And people have done eye tracking studies and things like that with digital video. And usually actually as quick as like 30 seconds, people their eyes start to wander around. Their mind starts to wander. Whereas if you have different shots from different angles and different close-ups and things like that, you'll see it's a much more attention getting video. So for your own sake, for the ease of shooting, just to take some of the pressure off you, where you can kind of break your thoughts into consolidated chunks and things like that, I recommend shooting into short clips. So little like 30-second segments, and then piecing those together. They can be from different, you can have the camera in different places, different angles, you can move locations, things like that. But get different segments of your video and then use your video editing tool to take those different segments and kind of push them all together into one simple, clean video. So once your capture session's done, now we're gonna get into production, actually post-production for the video, getting your editing done. So the first thing you're thinking about is format. And again, this is one where once you've done a couple of these, you can play with different formats and things like that. This is the format we've seen work best. So we've done really several hundred tests over tens of thousands of video views, and we see way more engagement with this specific format. So some things you could do with your video, you could just launch in and have one video where you kind of just you kind of cover the whole subject. You could start with an introduction, so maybe your logo kind of flows in there, and then you just go right into the topic. Or you could chunk it up different ways. And we've tried most of those different ways on YouTube and on Facebook to see which videos get the highest engagement. What we found got the highest engagement is when we have a 3 to 5 second hook, then an intro. And by an intro, I usually mean something simple like your logo coming in, maybe a little bit of music, something like that, just to kind of brand the video. Then your main content, and then your outro. So there you can do your calls to action at the end, you can do more branding, things like that. So in your hook section, you're going to say, what makes the video most interesting. So let's just go back to that lawn care example that I've been using. So hey, I'm Bob from Bob's Lawn Care. Today I want to tell you about the three ways you can kill your lawn, or 3 reasons you realize you can kill your lawn, or 3 different things, 3 different pests that are out there killing your trees, or something like that. So the hook is going to be in 3 to 5 seconds, just the thing that's most interesting, the really critical pain point for somebody, or the really critical kind of the best piece of information they're going to get out of the video. So you want to get something that's going to really be, it can be disruptive, it can be something shocking, you say something people might not expect. You can say something that's super valuable, something everybody wants to know. You can answer a question that's really pressing on everybody's mind. Any of those things would work, but get like 3 to 5 seconds. Then some kind of way to transition into the greater video. And so a simple way is just honestly to have your logo flow in and play a basic sound. And we'll show you how to do that really easily in the next section here. And then you get into your main content. So for online video, usually 2 to 3 minute videos work best. In some cases, people can get away with 10, 5-minute videos. Depends on your audience, it depends on your personality style, it depends on a lot of different things. But for most of us, when we start out, if you shoot for that 2 to 3 minute range, that's a good one. And then wrap up with any really solid calls to action, any ways you're going to kind of, this is where you see on YouTube videos, subscribe and like, add comments below, things like that. If you're a business, you can say, so get in touch. Here's how I get in touch for more information. Here's your call to action, that type of thing. And then just close out the video. So again, I would recommend starting with that format, and then you can play around with it, make it your own, see what works for your audience. I'm not saying this is the perfect format, but just when we tested a lot of videos, this was what was working consistently best for us, is when we use this as a video format. All right, then we get into editing. Now, there are a lot of editing tools out there, and I've used a lot of them. I kind of bounce back and forth in a lot of them. So if you're editing on your desktop, if you have a Mac, there's iMovie on the desktop. There's another free one called DaVinci Resolve for your desktop. If you're editing on your phone or your iPad, if you're editing on an Apple phone or Apple iPad, there's iMovie, again, is a free one that you can use to edit your videos. There's one that I've been using probably a lot more lately. It's called LumaFusion. And if you're on Android, there's one called Kine Studios. The reason picking Premiere Rush is it's an Adobe product, so there's a ton of support out there. So I'm going to cover just the basics of Premiere Rush, but there are thousands and thousands of YouTube videos how you can edit on Premiere Rush on your phone. The other thing is there is a desktop version of this that works on PC and Mac. There's also a mobile version that works on Androids and iPhones. So it's the most platform agnostic of the tools. So that makes it easy for this training session, and it's just a really helpful tool overall. Premiere Rush is not free. I think it's like $50 a year or something like that. So again, I kind of listed off some free ones in the question and answer session. I can give you some more ideas for free ones if you want. Some of your phones have it built in. I mean, iPhones have some video editing capability built in, but for the sake of this training, I'm going to show you Premiere Rush. And honestly, for someone just beginning, just starting out, it's one of the easiest to get into. And it's one of the best ways you can make super professional looking videos right on your phone. So after you've shot your video, you're going to open up Premiere Rush. And the first thing you're gonna do is select your media. So again, you probably shot a lot of different clips. Maybe even you shot some photos. So maybe you shot a photo of your product. You're gonna kind of pan across in the video. So you're gonna open Premiere Rush, and you can see on the left-hand side there, you're just gonna click the Add Media button. And then you're gonna just click, you're just gonna tap the different pieces of media that you wanna add there. So each of your video clips you're gonna bring in, each of your photos you're gonna bring in, et cetera. and then you're going to click create. The next thing you're going to do is trim your video. So if you had ums and uhs that you want to chop out, if you had, if you kind of, wandered off track, or even if you just didn't start your video right the first time, you're going to watch all your clips, and then you're really going to simply tap on the feed. And when you tap on it, you'll have this option to split the clip. So picture your video as kind of a film strip almost. You have the whole area of the video, and you'll be able to watch it. I mean, we kind of know how YouTube video sliders work and things like that. So find the part you're going to split it. You'll just click there and you click split, and that'll put it into two. And then click the one you want to remove and click delete. And then you can use your fingers just to drag them together. So if you picture a YouTube video with a YouTube video slider, that's how your videos can be laid out. The first thing you're going to do is kind of clean it up, or kind of, people talk about this as assembly or something like that, where you'll go through the whole video, take out your ums and uhs, adjust your content, push all your clips together, and just get a video that kind of makes sense in a chronological fashion there. So that's super easy. You tap, you're slicing, you're going to take probably 10, 15 minutes. If it's a 5-minute video, probably like 10 to 15 minutes just to watch each section of the video, trim it, just get it consolidated and make sure it sounds really nice going together. After that, you're going to add graphics. This is one of the reasons I really like Premiere Rush as a tool, even though it is, there's some investment in the tool. They have this whole library. So down at the bottom here, you click graphics and add graphic. They have a whole library of like title slides where, like, different graphics and shapes move in, or like the big title moves in there, or lower thirds that pop up below there, subscribe buttons that can pop up at the end, all that kind of stuff that kind of moves and animates and stuff like that in the video that gives it that more professional feel. All that's already built into Premiere Rush. You just click add graphic, select your graphic and click add, and it'll pop right into your video. And actually kind of overlays it over the top of the video really seamlessly. So once you have your video planned there, you can do a lower third. So if you're having an interview or different people, you want to put their name and maybe their job title, you can have something like I showed in that one slide where the lower third pops up. It just kind of introduces the person there. If you want, sliders to go across between transitions, you can do that. If at the beginning of the video, you want kind of a branded element, like I said before, where like your logo comes in, you can just choose one of these intros and you can pretty easily tap on the graphic and swap out your logo. And then at the end, if you want to have a call to action with like your phone number, your email address, any of that kind of stuff, you can pull that into the end of the video. So you're going to add all your graphical elements there. Then you're going to adjust color. So once you've got your video looking the way you want, what graphics we use, things like that. There's a button in Premiere Rush called color. So if your video looks kind of faded, like on the left there, or not as bright, or you just want to make it a little more vibrant, any of that kind of stuff, tap the color panel, and there's a whole bunch of presets. And then you can, if you want to get a little more fancy, you can individually adjust your colors, your hues, your luminance, that kind of stuff. But if you're just getting into it, honestly, they've got some really nice preset versions, kind of like an Instagram filter or something like that, that you can tap and put on your different clips just to make it all look super professional, super polished. Then we're going to add music. So you click the audio section there. Again, Premiere Rush has built-in tools that you can use that are, fully licensed. You won't get in trouble. You can actually put some music behind your video. Music can be a nice feature. You don't have to use it in every video, but it really ties a video together. So if you have a 3-minute video, if you have some loud music, and the other thing you do in Premiere Rush is you can tap on it and then pull the volume down at different points. So maybe when it first comes in, the volume's a little louder, but once you start talking, the music goes down a little bit. That kind of stuff is super easy to do with just tapping and dragging. But I do recommend, at least at the beginning, adding some kind of music. Just it kind of pulls the whole thing together. It gives you a little more of a vibrant feel. It's also a branding element. I mean, you can kind of tell what's going to happen in the video if it's super intense, dramatic music, or just kind of bright, happy music, things like that. It starts to brand the video a little bit. And then you're going to publish the video. So when you're ready to go there, you click the share button. And from Adobe Rush, you can publish right to your YouTube channel. You can push it right to Facebook, right to TikTok. So I'm going to run through those again, just really quickly. Basically, you open Premiere Rush, pick all the clips, trim them, compile it into a video that makes sense, add some graphics, some lower thirds, some things that move around on the screen, adjust the colors a little bit to give it the right feel, add your music, and publish it. As far as workflow, usually I spend about 30 minutes on a 5-minute video. So it's not a super quick thing until by the time you go back and forth, you play with one thing, realize you don't like it, move it back and things like that. If you're planning your day, if you're trying to get one video out a week, you probably want to leave, 10 to 15 minutes for shooting. That gives you some room to make a couple mistakes and reshoot a couple things, and about a half hour for the editing process. But the cool thing is, in under an hour, if you can dedicate an hour a week to this, you can absolutely get your video content rolling out there and get a video going to YouTube or going to Facebook or Instagram, one of those things, in that hour a week. Then the next step here that we have is promotion. So this is the workflow I use. And again, you might, in your own cases, your own sake, you might not want to do it, but I just want to share this because a lot of clients have used it and found it to be super useful. This kind of goes back to the marketing funnel, which I'll mention in a minute and why we like it for that. So basically, we shoot the video. we maybe take 10 minutes shooting the video, a half hour editing the video, and I've got my 5-minute video. Then I use another tool called rev.com. Rev.com is $1.25 a minute. This is not an essential tool. This is only if you want to get the transcript of your video. But Rev.com actually has humans go through and transcribe that 5-minute video. So you actually get the full text of the video. I'll mention why I like that a lot in a minute here. But so if I'm doing a 5-minute video, I'll spend $6. I'll get my full transcript. Then I'll take that video from Rush. I'll push it to Facebook. So now I've got my Facebook content rolled out there. I'll also post the video to YouTube. So now I've got it out there on YouTube, getting search traffic and things like that. And then I go to my website and I take the YouTube link. And if you have WordPress or Squarespace or Wix or Weebly, any one of those, you can just grab the link from your YouTube video and click add video in your website editor, and it'll actually embed the video on your website. And then I paste the transcript as a blog post. The reason I use this workflow is video is super helpful. When you think about that sales funnel, things like that, and think about the channels people are coming at your website. You need people to find you through search. For most of us that are in business, we need people to search and find us. YouTube videos do come up in search. So I'm here in Lancaster, PA. If we do, painting tips for people in Lancaster, PA, or I work with an insurance company who's actually a bootstrap client of mine. They do what makes auto insurance unique in Lancaster, PA, things like that. So I'll use that insurance company actually because they've been a massive, like direct leads, actually real business growth from using this exact workflow. So they'll do something like that, what makes auto insurance in Lancaster County unique, something like that. And their YouTube video, actually, when someone searches auto insurance in Lancaster, PA or something like that, maybe not that exact term, but something like that, their YouTube video often shows up right in the search results. So they get people that way. And then because they took the time to take that YouTube video and make it into a blog post with that transcript off that blog post also shows up in the search engine results page. So now they have 2 listings in the search engine results pages they're targeting. So with video marketing, so on the search engine side of things, it's fantastic. I mentioned one of the stats before, it increases search volume by 150%. If you just use a simple process of making a video a week and you align it with the right keywords and everything and start publishing the YouTube videos to YouTube and then pushing the content on your website, you are very likely to see a nice increase in search engine rankings for the stuff you want to rank for. Then we've got the social media side of things. So we can't neglect social. We want people on Facebook to know the types of content we're pushing out and things like that. So I often post a video to Facebook. I said Facebook, I mean, it depends on your marketing. It could be LinkedIn, it could be Instagram, but whatever social media channel you're trying to grow, take that and then you've got good social media content. So that can be, so now I've got that running in that way and people can engage with it, comment, and things like that. So those are 2 really primary channels. And by using this workflow now, you've kind of covered your basis in a lot of different ways. So that's my process that I like to use. But again, some people will just go right to YouTube or Instagram because that's kind of where they're at. All right, 2 quick slides, and then we'll go to the questions section here. So the last thing here, when you're publishing to YouTube, a lot of people know how do you actually get some traction on YouTube. And one of the best ways to get traction on YouTube is to not think of YouTube as a social network, but to think of it more as a search engine. So if you are a fashion brand or a streetwear brand, maybe every week you do a different look, spring styles, or, what to wear at the office. Like you do a video about that. In that world, what you want to do is you actually want to find things people are searching for on YouTube. So you can do that by looking at competitor videos, look what's kind of working for competitor videos, what's popular, that type of thing, to get a feel for what people are looking for. And then you want your video to rank. So when someone searches, what can I wear to the office in spring, or spring fashion ideas, or spring office wear ideas, whatever it might be, you want your video to be the one that comes up. So YouTube is actually the 2nd most used search engine. So more people use search engine than Bing, Yahoo, Brave, all those other ones combined. So when people are looking for information, a lot of times, YouTube is where people land if they're not going to Google. So in order to rank for those different search queries, things you can do, things Google is looking at is, 1, the content of your video. So be a little bit cognizant if you're going to go towards the YouTube and YouTube's a part of your strategy. Be thoughtful of what you're saying in the video, because YouTube does index the content of your video. So if you talk a lot about office apparel, what to wear at the office, or in the lawn care side of things, you talk about, taking care of lawns in Lancaster, PA, taking care of lawns in the Mid-Atlantic area, how to water a lawn. When someone searches how to take care of my lawn or how to water a lawn, if you mention that, even just, with your voice in the video, you're likely to come up. The other thing that takes a lot of weight is the title of your video. So if you name the video "How to Water Your Lawn," you're much more likely to come up than if you, for the search term "How to Water Your Lawn," than if you just title it "Lawn Care Tips" or something like that. So be really thoughtful about your title, and really think about your title in terms of what people are searching for. That can really help. Also, YouTube gives you a place to describe the video, to write up a description of your video, and you can put a whole bunch of content there that's also searched. So definitely use that description area, use it well, put in some of the pieces of the content, the video, etc. And then your thumbnail also matters. So this one's specific to YouTube. Facebook will usually just grab a frame from your video, but if you've ever been on YouTube, and I'm thinking everybody has, you'll see people actually have something, maybe it's like their face and a bunch of words or something like that, as a thumbnail for the video. And whether or not people, it doesn't affect the search engine rankings or YouTube search rankings, but it affects whether people click. If people are looking at a whole bunch of videos and they look, see a couple boring videos, then one that's got a really interesting facial expression with just the words that they're looking for, they're much more likely to click that video. The way I recommend doing your YouTube thumbnails, you can just have it be a frame of the video. That's fine if that's all you have time for. If you have like 10 more minutes to put into the video, something that's really going to improve your YouTube results is going to canva.com. That's canva.com. I'm guessing probably half of you are using the tool already. It's become really popular. But if you go to canva.com, you can set up a free account over there. It's completely free, no extra cost. And then in the search box, just type in YouTube thumbnails and you'll see hundreds of YouTube thumbnails. And you can pick one that fits your brand. You can drag in an image that you like. It can be your headshot. It can be a shot from your video, something like that. You can change the colors to match your brand colors, your website colors. Type in the title of your video and you're done. It takes about 10 minutes, but they've already they have different templates and layouts for YouTube thumbnails that are already got different angles and different, circular figures, all kinds of stuff. They've got the layout already done for you. So you can just pick one you like, put in your media, put in your image, your text, your colors, and then save it as a JPEG. And then when you publish the video to YouTube, YouTube will actually ask you, do you have a thumbnail for this? You just drag and drop it right into YouTube and you're good to go. So again, that's not an essential tip and an essential step in the process, but you will definitely see better results on YouTube if you're really intentional about your thumbnails. And it really takes like 10 to 15 minutes. It's really worth it. The last thing is tags. Tags, there's some question of how much they actually matter, but they have some value. So if you're doing a video at lawn care, you could certainly do organic lawn care. You can just put different tags in the video, things you want to come up in the video. So those are 5 things that you can control on YouTube. There are certain things you can't, how many people comment in the video, stuff like that. But basically, if you're creating really good content, if you've put some thought into aligning it with what people are searching for, you give it a good title, good description, a good thumbnail, and you're consistent. That's one I didn't put here, but consistency is really big on YouTube. So for some of us, YouTube is just a hosting solution. It's just where our videos live. So we don't really care if we have a lot of YouTube views. We just want, something we put on our website, people watch it that way. That's fine. For those of you that are really trying to build a YouTube channel or something like that, or really get a lot of people following you on YouTube, YouTube really rewards people that post on a regular basis. So even if you're just posting once a week, it doesn't have to be every day, but even if you're just posting once a week or once every other week, YouTube really rewards people have that steady posting rhythm. Your videos are come a lot more in search results, more people watch the videos, things like that, as opposed to putting out 3 videos, then disappearing for a month, and putting out 5 videos and disappearing for 2 months, something like that. Try to keep a really consistent schedule, which goes back to our first couple of slides with the strategy and the planning session. All right, the second one here is social. So social is a little bit of a different game. If you look at the left here, some of the examples here. There have been some studies over whether or not people have sound on their videos. And something that's interesting on both LinkedIn and Facebook, people only have, I think it's 70 and 85% of people have their sound off respectively. So Facebook, like 70% of people have their sound off looking at videos, and LinkedIn 85%. So if you kind of get in the shoes of your user, if you're posting videos to LinkedIn, let's just say, you're posting workforce tips and how to get a big job, things like that on LinkedIn. There's a good chance that the large majority of people can't actually hear your video. They're just going to see you talking. But LinkedIn and Facebook have captions tools, and actually rev.com that I just mentioned a little bit ago has a caption tool too that put captions at the bottom of your videos. I definitely recommend turning that on and making sure you have some kind of captions running through the bottom of your video. Whether you get it through Rev or whether you just use Facebook to turn it on, automatically, either one can work. The nice thing about Rev is they actually have humans that go through and kind of line everything up for you, so that makes it a little easier. But if you're going to have a really big social push, this isn't as important for YouTube because YouTube actually has its own closed captioning automated system. But if your big driver is Facebook or LinkedIn, it's going to be really important that people can actually read the video, because that's most people watch the video and see what you're saying, but they need to see the words beneath it there too. Also, social media videos skew a little shorter. I said 2 to 3 minutes is kind of a magic number. The different videos are at the edges of those, parameters. Social, you kind of want to be 2 minutes or below. A video on social that's more than 2 minutes is fairly long. On YouTube, you can go a lot higher. You can go up to a 3 or even a 5 or 10 minute video on YouTube, but keep it a little bit shorter. Tags also matter in social. So your hashtags and things like that, you do be intentional with that, put those on there. The title of your video matters. If you title it the right video, more people are likely to click on it. And the shape of your video matters. So whereas YouTube, think about it as wide, kind of like you see my face probably on the Zoom meeting. Facebook and Instagram and things like that are square, and then LinkedIn is actually also wide. Premiere Rush is going to take care of that for you though. If you use the video and shoot it in Premiere Rush, that'll take care of actually cropping it, trimming it, things like that. That's also another reason why you shouldn't shoot the video with your face like all the way to the edge, because if you crop it square, you lose it. Whereas if you're in the thirds, even if you crop it square, the person's still in the shot. So just be aware that while you'll shoot the video wide, and people, most people see the video wide, when you get to some of those social platforms, you're actually only going to have a square video. And people that shoot only for Facebook and Instagram and things like that will often just think in terms of square videos, because since that's the most common use case. So those are some things to think about in the platform. So I've left about 15 minutes for questions here. I know it's not a lot of time, especially with all that we covered. So really, if you want to email me, you can email that. My blog is Bootstrap Local. You can email me at adam@bootstraplocal.com. It's right here. Feel free to email questions. That's my cell phone number below. If you're more of a text kind of person, you can feel free to text me if you have questions. So I would do want to cover questions in this session, but I figured some of you might have questions that are more pertinent to brand or something like that. So if you want to ask me offline, that's totally fine too. All right, Kathy, are you still there?
I am. Cool. There's two questions that have shown up. What are your thoughts on Vimeo? I always pronounce it wrong.
Yeah, Vimeo is a great place to host your videos. I have some online courses that I sell different places. Vimeo is great for that. You do have to pay for Vimeo, so you have to subscribe to the Vimeo account. Vimeo players look really nice. If you look at a website and you see a YouTube embedded on a site and a Vimeo embedded on the site, the Vimeo player looks really clean. So sometimes like videographers or creatives like that really clean look. Also, Vimeo is secure. So it's harder to steal a video on Vimeo than it is on YouTube. Those are the reasons to use Vimeo. 8 times out of 10, though, you're better off with YouTube if you're doing it for the purpose of marketing, because YouTube's a search engine and way more people search on YouTube than Vimeo. YouTube indexes your videos. YouTube videos will show up in search. Vimeo can kind of, but you've got to be careful with your permissions and stuff. YouTube's really easy, and it's honestly kind of driven to be promotion centric. Also, YouTube's free. So most of my clients are using YouTube just because it's a little bit better of a marketing channel and it's free. Vimeo is also, if you want really secure content or you really want like really nice aesthetically kind of minimalist players, Vimeo can be good for that. Also, if you have some budget to invest in getting a good player, Vimeo is good for that. I think their base price is like 10 or 15 a month, something like that. So yeah, so it's useful, but usually YouTube is going to be just the easier way to go.
Okay, Adam, another question is, what is the best way when you're doing a video to not look like you're on a teleprompter?
Yeah, some things that, and I had to cut this a little short, some things that to consider. One is know your material. So actually Harvard Business Review just published an article like 2 days ago that said the best presentation tip is not to memorize your presentation, not to read your presentation, but just to like take hours and just learn your material inside and out. So the more you can take time learning your material and even practicing it, so maybe just do a dry run of the video, you can get some of the quirks out and things like that and just feel a lot more natural. The second tip that I'd say to be a little more natural, a little more comfortable in video is if it helps you, you can have a conversation with someone. For some of my clients, sometimes I'll sit behind the camera. I'm not really doing anything, but they're just talking to me. If you don't have someone, you could always just imagine it, right? So that can work too. So rather than thinking so much about the camera, because I close up on video very often. It took me a long time to get more comfortable. But a lot of times if I can just imagine having a conversation with someone, that helps too. The third one I'd say, so one of my podcasts, I got to interview this influencer that's got millions of YouTube followers. And I asked him that specifically. So how do you come across as so charismatic on video all the time? And he had a kind of an interesting tip. He said he recommends having a persona. There's actually a book called Alter Ego that just writes all about this. But he said he kind of switches. It's kind of like an old acting technique where his name's Tom Ferry. He's a big real estate coach. Anyway, he said, I've got like the Tom Ferry who I'm in my everyday life, and I've got the Tom Ferry who I am on my YouTube channel. And when I switch to Tom Ferry on the YouTube channel, I like forget that person, forget all my, insecurities and whatever for that other person. I just become this energetic person, and this person that's got tons of charisma and just doesn't care what people think. He said, even if you're not like that every day, like literally just taking like 2 seconds and switching characters is kind of what helped him. So some of those might help you, some might not, but those are 3 things that I found to be just kind of helpful for me in the past.
Okay, just for everybody's benefit, I will be sending you all a link to the YouTube of this. It will be on the SCORE YouTube channel, so you'll be able to have it afterwards. Adam, another question. Is there a catalog of music to buy, to use, or do most people compose original?
Yep, you can buy. So there are tools like Storyblocks is one, I think, storyblocks.com. There's a bunch of free stuff out there. If you Google YouTube audio library, that's YouTube audio library, the first or second result, YouTube actually gives you a whole bunch of free audio that you can use. There are like thousands and thousands and thousands of songs you can use for your YouTube videos. And you can download the MP3. So you can do it right on your phone, find one you like, download it, and put it right into Premiere Rush, or on your desktop, download it, put it right into Premiere Rush. So that's one. You can go through all the YouTube stuff. That's another reason I like Premiere Rush. Like I mentioned, it is, you're paying $10 a month, but you're also kind of getting access to all of their audio files. So they actually have music right inside of Premiere Rush that you can use. So if you are going to go the Premiere Rush route, you've got it there too. And also, if you just type Creative Commons Zero or free use music into YouTube or into Google, excuse me, you'll find some that way.
Do you have the WPS pen?
That gets a little weirder. So the YouTube audio library, and then whatever your tool is, like Premiere Rush, hopefully, those two are usually your best case. You got thousands between the two of them. So.
Okay, Adam, another question just came in. Can you repeat the name of the persona book?
Yeah, let me, I think it was called Alter Ego. Let me just Google it real quick here. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called Alter Ego. It's by, yeah, let me just, I think that's it. Yes, it's called Alter Ego. It's a yellow cover. I don't know if you can see it on my phone here. Probably not. It's a yellow cover. It's a bright yellow cover. If you just Google Alter Ego book, that was the one. I read the book. It was a great book. If you also Google Tom Ferry, or like look for Tom Ferry videos on YouTube, you'll see he's just this super dynamic speaker, you know, and kind of implement some of those tactics and things like that. But the book was Alter Ego.
So just to repeat, the book is Ultra You.
Ultra You, I'm sorry.
Yeah, somebody said they couldn't quite hear you. So I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, sorry, no, Alter Ego, ALTEREGO,
Yeah.
Alter
Okay.
Ego.
Okay.
By Todd Herman.
Okay, good, thanks. I hope everybody got that. Are there other questions? Please bring them up. I'll ask a couple. Adam, right here. How about getting the importance of getting likes on videos that you post? Is that important?
It is. Yeah, it is. And they're kind of two schools of thought. I mean, one, if you've watched any YouTube influencer, they almost all say like and comment at the end of the video, or like and subscribe, you know, something like that. Or they'll say, you know, my channel threat. So some people just directly ask for it, and that's become kind of common and easy to do on YouTube. And you can do the same thing on Facebook. So that's fine. That one way, I mean, they're very important, I guess is the short answer. Another way to get more, you can ask for it. Other people are just more organic, and they kind of use their likes to dictate the content. So if they see one type of video gets a lot of engagement, a lot of likes, the next kind doesn't, they'll just kind of create more content that our audience feels more comfortable with, because they don't feel comfortable just asking for likes. I think it's fine. We there's a friend of mine partnered in a business where we grew, got about 900 YouTube subscribers, so not massive. We do ask for likes and comments, and it usually works. I don't think it's ever hurt us. But if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can just kind of just try to create more content that generates that type of stuff. But it is important. It affects your rankings, it affects your Facebook, you know, the algorithm, all that kind of stuff. So. Any others?
Adam, somebody said they can't find Tom Ferry on Google. Can you drop the spelling in the chat?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, and I can add some of these tips to the email I send with the link to the video afterwards.
I see in the chat. Yeah, it's Tom Ferry. I just probably put it in the chat.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions anybody has? Okay. Adam, I had another question, since you and I've worked on this before. What about putting videos on Google My Business?
Yeah, that's another great one. I mean, there's so many, but obviously there's so many places. If you are a local service business, so if you are serving a local audience, especially, it's great to put videos, you know, videos of your services, different places in town that you visit, just on your phone. If you can capture those, maybe edit them a little bit in Premiere Rush. I think Google My Business has a cap of like 30 or 60 seconds. So you got to shoot shorter videos. But if you have claimed your Google My Business profile, it's business.google.com. It's free, very easy to claim. That's a great place to put your videos up there. Yeah, that's a fantastic one. If you're going for more of a national audience, I mean, you can consider TikTok. TikTok has its own culture and things like that. I think if you can start with a basic YouTube video, once you get in the flow of it, a lot of it is just getting comfortable doing it. So once you've done your first 5 or 6, then I feel like you can start to find other places to put the video, try their channels, that kind of stuff, if you really love it. But I really would recommend just sitting down, try to, put 10 dates on your calendar for the next 10 months where you're just going to get a video out once a month, or if you can do more, that's even better. But yeah, once you get the rhythm, that's good. But the short answer, Google My Business is a great one for local businesses.
If any of you want to ask a question live, please do. Adam's here, capitalize on his expertise while he's here to ask those questions.
Yeah. Yeah, happy to help. And if anybody doesn't feel comfortable, feel free to text me or email me too. Happy to brainstorm or email offline. Yeah, that's totally fine too.
I'll ask one more, Adam, sorry.
Cool. Sure, yeah.
What about, does it matter if you use the same video on multiple sources?
No, you can certainly use the same video on Facebook and YouTube and things like that. And then I think when we're starting out, I would use the same video on multiple sources. As you grow, you might starting to do different ones because your YouTube video might feel a little different than Facebook. You might ask for people to like and subscribe on YouTube, but on Facebook, your call to action might be different. And once you get really comfortable with video, you'll be able to make a lot more. That's kind of the funny thing about video. Once you've made your first like 10, they just start, even if you're not comfortable for your first 5 or 7, after usually like 10 videos, it just comes really naturally. So, and that's where then at some point for a lot of my customers, it's become so natural. They're making a lot of them. So then they're going to customize one for Facebook. They might even, I tend to make custom ones for LinkedIn versus custom ones for YouTube when I was more active on LinkedIn. So I would specifically address the LinkedIn audience and stuff like that. So once you get in the flow of it, you can make more. But to start out, I don't want to, pressure people. I would just start with one video and post it to the different platforms. And the one thing I didn't mention, I got that I was kind of loosely in there, but I just want to call out specifically. It is worthwhile posting this video directly to each platform. So you could post to YouTube, and then you could embed that YouTube video on LinkedIn and on Facebook. But both Facebook and LinkedIn will actually give you a little bit of preference. More people will see your video if you take that file and post it right to Facebook. So when you're in Premiere Rush, let's just say that's when you're using, I would on one step push it to YouTube, and then a second step push it to Facebook instead of pushing it to YouTube and then embedding it in other places. So if that makes sense, just you get a little more traction if you post directly to the platform you want to target.
So here's another question. I'm shooting in a dance studio with no windows and fluorescent lighting. Any help in this regard?
Yes. Yeah. So if natural light's completely out of the question, I would look on Amazon.com. You can get, I think they're about like $70. I was trying to keep everything free, but if you Google softbox lights, what I wouldn't do is ring lights. Ring lights are super popular, but I'd stay away from ring lights if you can. That's the big circle that kind of goes all over your face. It's okay for Zoom meetings, but for professional videos, it gives you this kind of weird, unnatural lighting. I would also stay away from like LED panel lights because that gives you that really harsh light. Those are two that you'll see in the cheaper light categories. If you Google softbox lights, they actually have this like, they'll look like a big square or a big circle, and it'll have like almost like a sheet in front of it, like almost like a shower curtain or something. The light sits behind it and it diffuses the light basically. So there's like a $70 kit on Amazon that's a decent kit that has 2 of them. So if you have to shoot in a studio or something like that, if you Google those softbox lights, because it basically has a single light source, but then it has a big sheet that the light kind of flows through, it feels a little more like that natural lighting setup. And again, you can get them pretty affordably. The website company I had, we used those $70 lights for like 3 years before we bought the more expensive ones. The next step up is like $1,000 a light. It's not worth it unless you're doing like lots of videos. But yeah, that's what I would do if I had to do it in a kind of enclosed space. I'd probably just Amazon some softbox lights and go with that.
Adam, another one is, do Facebook and Instagram have a time limit like you mentioned Google My Business does?
I should know if they do. I haven't run up against it. I mean, like I said, there's not I don't know there's a hard limit. There is an attention limit. So 2 minutes on social videos we've created, we really see a big drop off after 2 minutes. Our YouTube videos, people watch for crazy lengths of time. Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, I think just because of the nature of social media, once you get to like 2-3 minutes, it starts to cap off. I would at least try to keep it below 5 minutes. If you're going over 5 minutes, you're probably better off. I'm actually going to change something I said. You're probably better off just posting to YouTube and then embedding it. That's the one time. If you've got like a whole workshop that you're doing like this, if I were going to take this as a video and I was going to try to put it on social, more people are going to watch that on YouTube. So I would just put it on YouTube and maybe embed a link to YouTube on Facebook. But if you're doing like Facebook specific marketing, like social media video marketing, really try to keep that like 2-3 minutes or less. Does that make sense? Kind of nuance there, but.
I think that's good, Adam. Any other questions?
Cool. Well, thanks everybody. Those are fun questions. I really appreciate you being here. It's a fun topic to talk about. And if there's any way I can help, or love helping small businesses, SCORE clients, because any way I can give back to SCORE, I like it. I mean, SCORE's been such a huge resource in my life. So feel free to be happy to help.
Well, thank you all. I'm glad you could join us today, and I will send an email to all of you with the link to the final YouTube when it's up on our YouTube channel. So thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you at a future event.
Thanks, everybody.
Adam, someone just asked you about the name of the lights.
Oh, yeah, if you can, I don't have them off the top of my head. If you could email me, I'll get the exact Amazon link and I'll send you the ones that we used. Like I said, they lasted for like 4 years. So they, I mean, longer, we just stopped using them. But yeah, so I can send you the link if you can email me. Yeah, easiest.